I am Jeffrey Iron Fist in World of Tanks, also known as Jeffrey Villardwen, and I promised I will do a comparison between a heavy tank and the skill it takes to play a heavy tank and an SPG, self-propelled gun, artillery. So let's call it artillery from now on. The one I'm going to play is this one. It's the SU-8. It was a Russian design that I don't think it ever actually saw production. I can't remember. I have 2 marks of excellence on it. And in fact, it is the 13th best in the world, in Europe rather, or at least it was when I played it before this battle. And it has 2 marks of excellence on its gun as well. Put a decal on it. Says Joseph Stalin. It's a proper Soviet artillery piece, and let's compare it with the OI experimental. So wherever you see green, it means it's better, one of the 2. So OI experimental on the left, SU-8 on the right. Remember, SU-8 is a tier higher than the OI experimental. So there is one thing that looks like it's better right off the bat. It has more alpha. It's called average damage per shot. But this is deceptive, because if you look at the line below, the OI experimental has a penetration of 60, so it can penetrate pretty much all tanks, almost all tanks, a tier 5, and it can even fire premium ammunition that has much higher penetration than this. So so whenever it penetrates, it causes, let's say, 360 damage. Yeah, but if you compare it with the SU-8, I'm going to say this is actually deceptive. It needs to penetrate 38 millimeters of armor to have 600 damage, and those tanks that have 38 millimeters of armor, they are tier 4, tier 5 light tanks that don't have 600 hit points to take away from them. So even if they have not been shot before and you hit them for the first time, they have 280 hit points, 200 whatever, 300 hit points, 250. They don't have 600. And so this is totally deceptive. First of all, it cannot fire any other ammunition with higher penetration, so the highest is 38. And it's not going to cause 600 damage. It's going to cause something like, on average, about 150 damage. Whereas the OI can can penetrate minimum 60 millimeters of armor if it uses premium ammunition more than 60 millimeters, I think 120 or something, or even more, and then causes 360 damage. So it's like no comparison in terms of the damage these 2 can cause. And then if you look at the other ones, what is it? Minimum stand duration. Of course, the OI doesn't have that kind of stand rate of fire. Much higher, twice as high for the OI experimental. Reload time, obviously, is shorter. Gun traverse, much faster. It has much better gun depression, of course, -10. Of course, the artillery has 44 elevation because it's artillery, but yeah, I mean, that's pointless. The gun traverse is meaningless. Skip that. So aiming time, the OI aims half as fast. In reality, the SU-8 doesn't take 486 to aim. It takes something like 8 or 9 seconds for the aiming circle to fully become aimed. Even with the various skills and everything else it has on it. It's a 3-skill crew with various equipment and so on. It still takes something like 9 seconds. This 4.86 is deceptive. Much longer than that. Dispersion for the OI experimental has a derp gun is 0.51. For the SU-8 is 0.7. No comparison. Yeah? Average damage per minute already without taking into account reality, it's higher for the OI experimental. Imagine if we take into account the fact that the actual damage the SU-8 can cause much less than that. Then this is really is like very deceptive. This 2,400 something versus 2,000 something, and then the OI has 700 hit points versus 270 of the SU-8, which is a tier 6 tank. That's right. It has 125 frontal armor versus 30 for the SU-8. There's like no comparison. It's like heads and shoulder and knees and feet above it. I mean, there's just no comparison. How much better the OI experimental is versus the SU-8. And the only thing the SU-8 has really is it has higher mobility. In other words, it can move faster. So it has a higher speed. So the OI moves at around 24 kilometers per hour, and the SU-8 about 34 or something. So it's a little bit faster. That's true. But that's the only real advantage. There's nothing else. So the OI experimental has twice the view range. They have similar concealment. There's a small difference. It doesn't really matter. They'll be spotted straight away because both of them are huge. They are big as houses. And that's why I chose the SU-8, because it has a similar size as the OI experimental. And so without further ado, let's see what I can do in this tank, which is a very good tank in my hands. So as I said, it was the 13th best tank in July, and it's got 2 marks of excellence on it. So we are in Runeberg. Is an urban map, so you may say this is not a very good map for artillery, but a fair proportion of the maps are urban or semi-urban, and so it can happen. I don't know how many, but let's say about a quarter to a third of the maps are urban. And so here's my SU-8, nicknamed Joseph Stalin, and as you can see, it has 2 marks of excellence on its barrel. So this is hopefully going to be an interesting gameplay from a tank that I can do really well, that I know it very well, and I know what I can do with it. And so there are 2 SPGs, so they're trying to find a way around, or maybe it's 3 SPGs. Now there are 3 SPGs. So 2 of us are sitting in this little corner because we need to have the angle. You can see, I mean, you cannot shoot anywhere on this map. I mean, it's one thing to say that it can. Now here we can shoot in this place, which is out of sight. That is true. I don't have a line of sight, let's say here. So there are spots where you don't have a line of sight you can shoot at, but there are very few in reality. And so here was 2 heavy tank players. They're displaying the skill of playing a heavy tank. So they sat next to each other and they got both hit by our arty. And so here's this massive Japanese super heavy keeps getting hit. He doesn't understand that he shouldn't be sitting there, that we have an angle on him. What can I say? I mean, it's not my fault that there are players like that. He could have easily found cover. Like this one. Okay, he pulls out of cover. He knows might be hit by artillery. He was not a heavy tank player. And so we spot another tank here. It's in the open. Finally, there is a tank we can actually hit without a line of sight, which can actually, you know, it stays out in the open, and you know, it moved. So you can see it got stunned, but it moved. And so I'm aiming there, and I caused a little bit of damage, and not a whole lot. And so far, you could say this is a very typical RT game. I haven't moved very much. It's the beginning of the battle. It hasn't really, the battle itself hasn't developed very much. But you can see as soon as an enemy tank gets spotted, it moves around. And it takes, if you can count, it took me something like 9 seconds so for the aim circle to shrink down. In those 9 seconds, this tank can be anywhere, except this one decided to stay still for weird reason. So 9 seconds later, I'm able to fire and damage it. And so the other guy killed it. Here's the OI sitting in the middle of the open. Now all 3 arty, all 3 SPGs are shooting at it. I mean, there's just no reason to go out in the middle of the open. I'm very sorry, so it's looking for trouble. hit him for 124. So you see, supposedly it will do 600 damage per shot. No, it doesn't do 600 damage per shot, because you need to penetrate to do that kind of damage. And you need to hit tanks that have 38 millimeters of armor, and almost no tank has 38 millimeters of armor unless you really like it in some light tank. But then a light tank will not have 600 hit points. And so now we're thinning out fewer and fewer tanks. We're 6 to 6. I'm deciding to relocate. I want to get to a safer spot, because I'm kind of worried that we might lose the flank there in the east. And so I want to have some protection behind that building. So you could say I'm going to hold down or whatever. I'm taking cover, because, you know, line of sight is important. And so here I barely can shoot over this building. So to say you can shoot over obstacles as if it's a miracle, it almost never happens. I mean, it's very hard. It's not so simple as it sounds. And probably with a little bit of elevation, any tank would have hit some of those tanks in the open. You don't have to be in an arty. You can find an elevated spot and do it. And so here I'm blind shooting. I'm hoping I can hit some of those, because the other guys are in the city, and I definitely cannot shoot them. I definitely need line of sight to those in order to shoot them. And so I decided this is what I want to do. I want to be in a position that if they decide to move, I'd be able to shoot at them in the city, in the town, in Runeberg, and at the same time maybe find a spot where I can shoot at the ones in the open. But it's very difficult to be able to do both. So I'm basically playing like a normal tank now. I'm out in the town looking for an enemy tank to shoot at, which is very risky. What I'm actually trying to do here is to find a spot that will cover as much of the battlefield as possible. And there is a UDES, it's a top tier TD hanging around. I want to be able to shoot at it. It might pop up around here. I'm hoping. I think blind shooting these bushes. Nothing happened. The IS/M is going into town. It's approaching their base. And here's the UDES. And it's killed. Let's kill the IS/M, sorry. So I'm now worried that he might try to come this way, and so I want to have an angle on him so I have enough warning, because the aim circle takes time to shrink. Even if I pre-aim, if I slightly move it, it's going to bloom. So I want to have some sort of angle so I'm prepared. One's not going to sort of proxy spot me. Yeah, that's the idea. That's what I'm trying to do. So I want to avoid that I get proxy spotted. And I want to be at such a distance. You can see how short the view range is, green circle. I want to be at such a distance that when he appears, it's going to be well within the green circle, so I can spot him. And so this is what I'm doing here. So this is not random. This kind of distance to this corner that I've chosen, and I'm expecting he's going to turn up there. He's going to try to go around and kind of flank our base. This is my expectation, so I have to be in the mind. So I've been spotted. There it is. As I said, the bloom's gone back up, but fortunately I was able to hit him. But he survived, even though he had relatively low HP. who's lower on HP and hit points. He survived. And so now I'm in trouble. I managed to get away. I don't know how. Why didn't he shoot? He was probably trying to aim. So I managed to get away. He missed me. He wasn't able to shoot. And that's where speed helped me. The fact that this tank has speed, you had to make advantage of it. And then here now I'm expecting him to come from that corner, but he probably knows that I'm expecting him to come from that corner, so he's trying to probably do something clever, potentially. So the M12 is trying to spot him, and there's another tank, this STRV, is trying to spot him. And that's lucky, they are helping me out. And there he is, he's been spotted either by the M12 or the STRV, and surrounding the corner, and I have to shoot, I have to pre-aim and shoot, and luckily I got him. And so, you remember the OI experimental gameplay? I just pressed W, went forward. I didn't even go as far, I didn't travel as much as that, that's for sure. I just went forward a little bit, shot a few tanks and died. And I carried my team. Yeah, I was like the top ranked player by far. See how much harder it is in an SPG. And so there was some arty there I spotted earlier, so we're blind shooting that spot, just in the hope that he's still there. Now I'm relocating again because I'm worried that we are going to lose the eastern flank. So we have the STRV in the town, and no one else was spotted in the town. And so whoever else is trying to approach us, I think is going to try now to approach us from the left, because he knows we're in the town. So he's going to try and approach our base. Except from here, I have a shot at the area where the arty very often is, and this arty was damaged. And can I kill it? I kill it. So I've got now my second kill of the battle, and the OR, if you remember, got 3 kills, much quicker than I am doing here. So we're now having the advantage. We have 3 RT and a TD, a tank destroyer, and the enemy has 1 tank destroyer and 1 RT. So we have the advantage. This should be straightforward, you think. There is their tank destroyer. Has killed 1 of our arties, so I'm pre-aiming, waiting for the circle to shrink, and if I moved my gun, you see it blooms again. So that's why I tried to shoot, and I just hadn't timed the whole thing properly. But this is what happens, you see. It's not so simple. I mean, with the OI, you just turn around the corner and boom. You have to pre-aim, not just pre-aim and shoot. You have to pre-aim 9 seconds in advance of where the tank is going to be, because you have such a huge bloom. If you move your gun, the whole thing blooms. So, and I got him, and that's it. End of the game. So 3 kills, like with the OI. Unfortunately, I don't have the final results, so I cannot tell you how much was the total damage. It was comparable. If you add those numbers you see in the bottom, it's going to be comparable to what the OI did. Because I don't have the damage and I haven't kept the results, I'm going to show you another battle. I'm going to make another episode. I'm going to show you a battle for another SPG. I actually have the results for those. And you can see how, after all this effort, after all this moving around and repositioning and trying to get the angles and try to pre-aim and do all these things, you still get less damage. And so here's again the comparison that I showed you before, and I'll do one more episode with another SPG where I have the results, another battle, and then you'll get the idea. And you can decide for yourselves what's easiest to play and what would you rather choose. Would you choose to go into battle with the OI experimental or with the tier 5, tier 6 SPG? If you were in clan wars or something like that, or some kind of competition, what would you pick? Which takes the least skill for the kind of oomph you get, for the kind of effect, for the kind of score you get in the end. So, thank you for watching.